Hey everybody, take 100. It feels like it anyway. Okay, so today we're going to talk about. The season is, in my opinion, I don't see how they're going to finish it. But we're in limbo. We don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to finish the regular season? Are they going to get the playoffs in? In what format are they going to get the playoffs? We don't really know anything. How many teams are going to make the playoffs? We just don't know anything. So I thought today I'm going to take a look at the Montreal Canadiens and the outlook for them going into the off season. So we're going to just pretend that everything's over and whatever happened, and we're in the off season. I guess before draft, because the draft choices would be up there. But we're not talking about drafts. We're not talking necessarily about free agents. We're just what position are they in going into the off season. So for next season, they are committed to $63.1 million on the cap, which means they've got a bit of space. Although we don't know what the cap's going to be, because the talk is that the cap is probably going to go down if the season's not finished and the playoffs don't get in. And even if they do, even if the playoffs do get in, even if they finish the regular season, in what way are they going to do it in front of empty seats, which is probably how it's going to be. So there's going to be no gate. So there's a money loss. So what will happen with the cap? Will it stay the same? Will it go lower? I doubt it's going to go up. I really doubt it's going to go up this time. So it matters that you're not up against the cap to start the season, because I'm sure a lot of teams are. And if the cap goes down, even more teams are going to be. Maybe not right there, but very close. Can't make any moves. Going to have to let people go, make trades, that kind of stuff. So we're doing good that way, I think. UFAs for next season or in the off season: Dale Weiss, Christian Folin. Both of them. I don't know if there's a reason to sign either of them. Depending on the moves they make, I don't think either one will get signed. That's my opinion. RFAs, Victor Mete and Noah Juleson have no arbitration rights. So they're kind of, they can't really do much with whatever the team offers them. They can say yes, or they can say no and don't play. It's one of the two. Now, Max Domi, Charles Hudon, Willette, all of a sudden I forgot Willette's first name. Don't ask me why. And Jake Evans and Lucas Vedimo, although I don't know what kind of future Vedimo has here. He's young, could be, but these guys all are going to be RFAs, and they have arbitration rights, which means team can offer them something, they make an offer back. If they can't decide, they can go to an arbitrator to decide what the contract would be. It would be a one-year contract, I do believe, when an arbitrator makes a decision, and these guys have the options for that. Coming into the team next season, it's pretty much been confirmed without being officially, because it's Alex Romanov. The rumor is that he wants to sign a contract, and they want to sign him. That's without a doubt. But the fact that the season is not officially over, they're not officially going to play, it's in limbo. They don't want to sign him. I don't think they can sign him to a contract unless they say, okay, the season's going to restart. Apparently he wants to come and play if that happens. And if not, he'll be signed once the season's been canceled, and they can move on to next season. They're going to sign Alex Romanov. He will be making the team. I do believe that. Unless he has a horrid camp, he's making the team. So he's in next season. Top prospects on this team, Alex Romanov is one, because he has not played an NHL game. He is a prospect still. Even though I do believe he'll make the team to start the season at the very least, he's still a prospect. Ryan Poehling, he's still a prospect, even though he played a few games last season. But he's back down in the AHL, which makes him still a prospect, along with KK, with Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Although Kotkaniemi, I think, is a little farther along as far as being a prospect. But he's still in the AHL, so things could go bad, and he's still a prospect. He could still bust, I guess. Cale Fleury, same thing. Was on the team for a while, back in the AHL as a prospect. Here's a guy that a lot of people have forgotten about because of an injury last year, and he didn't play hockey at all for the last 6, 7, 8 months, is Joel Teasdale. He was with the Rouyn-Noranda Huskies, won the Memorial Cup. Yeah, I believe Teasdale. No, he wasn't with the. I think I got screwed him up with Harvey Canard. But anyways, Joel Teasdale out with an ACL and an MCL on one of his knees. I don't know which one. Hurt himself doing some kind of practice drills right after the Memorial Cup. He's been out for a while, but he should be ready to come back shortly, or for by the time next season starts. He's a guy to look out for because he's got some talent, and I don't know if that year off, how much it hurt his development. That's what we're going to find out. But he's definitely a top prospect. Caden Primo in nets, top prospect. I hope they get a backup goalie, and they don't have to bring Primo up. I don't really want to see Primo spending a whole season here. I think he would benefit a lot more from being in the AHL and maybe taking the bulk of the starts there, and just developing down there. I'd rather him develop down there than up here in Montreal. I really would. You got Josh Brooke. Apparently, near the end of when the season got called, he was starting to really come along, so he's going to be an option for next season. Otto Leskinen, who had a cup of coffee this year, definitely he's progressing, and he's definitely a prospect. Anyways, I don't know if he'll make the team and make a big impact, but he's got to be on the list. Now, this one for me is like a personal favorite. I just have this feeling about this guy, Rafael Harvey Canard. I have this feeling he's a 7th-round draft pick from the last draft, but he's a guy that puts up points, plays big minutes, important. He's the captain of his QMJHL team now. He's either an overager or a 20-year-old. He's in his last season in the Q. I like this kid. He's a top prospect to me. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. So as far as prospects go, we're set pretty good. There's some good guys that can make the team, that can help. We're set pretty good. Now, worst contracts for the team, Shea Weber. Definitely you got to look at Shea Weber and Carey Price. They're the only two contracts that are really glaring. Unless you want to look at Jonathan Drouin's 5.5 for the next, I think, 3 or 4 years. Depends on how he works out for next season. If he has another bust season, then, yeah, that's a bad contract. But for now, I wouldn't put it here. Weber's making 7.86 for the next 7 years. Price is making 10.5 for the next 7 years. They're the worst contracts only because of the number and the term and the age of the players. Other than that, I think Price will be fine. I don't think it's too glaring. And as the seasons go on, that 10.5 won't look nearly as bad. It's the Shea Weber's because of the term. I don't know if Shea Weber is going to play till he's 41. So that could be a problem there, but it's not a knock on him. But just saying that's a bad contract right now. Best contracts on the team. Paul Byron, $3.4 million for 3 more years. Now it depends on what Paul Byron we get. If we get the Paul Byron at the beginning of the season that played the first 19 games, no, not worth it. Would be a bad contract. But when he finally did come back, he was playing really good hockey. If we get that guy for the next 3 years, that's a good contract. Thomas Tatar, $4.8 million for 1 more season, leading point getter. Just having Montreal just works for him. Also, Vegas pays $500,000 of that contract, so we're paying $4.3 million. It's a good contract. I do believe they'll probably re-sign him next year, especially if he doesn't slow down and he's just in his prime. He's 29. I think he's 29. He's not an old guy in the middle of his prime. I think they'll re-sign him again, but that's a good contract at $4.3 million. Problem spots on the team. We all know left-hand defense, definitely a problem, which I think, honestly, I do believe they will solve that somehow in the offseason. It's a must. I don't think if they have any hopes to make the playoffs next season, that has to be solved. Left-hand D. Another position that has to be solved, in my opinion, is the backup goalie. Yes, we have Charlie Lindgren. He's a nice, cheap option. I don't think he can do it. He has, in every game that he played 6 games, he looked good, and then he broke down at key times that gave up goals and cost the game. And I don't know. He's 26 now, so he'll be 27. I believe he'll be 27 next season. That's when a player enters his prime. it might make a difference. That's sometimes players in their 27th year, they make that adjustment, and that's the breakout year, I guess you're going to say. So maybe he'll have a breakout year next year. He'll get a shot at the backup goalie. I'm quite sure of that, but I don't think he'll be the only option that's in camp. So backup goalie must be solved. Something that they might do, I don't know, but I think they might go after an elite forward or a sniper. Yes, we've got, well, hopefully we've got Cole Caulfield coming in the next, I kind of figure he's going to be back in college next season. So you're looking at probably it'll be 3 years. So the 2 seasons, one more in college, I think he'll do, one in the AHL, and then he'll be up here. So we need a sniper. We need a goal scorer that can bridge that gap. The talk again is about Taylor Hall. Nice option, but super expensive, and you got to sign him to term, more than 2 years. So I'd like to find somebody. Well, I don't think I'll be finding him. I'd like Bergevin to find somebody that can bridge that gap. You know, somebody that they can bring in for 3 years, allows Caulfield to get here, have a season here, and maybe then be ready to be the sniper. So that's kind of important to me. Those are the problem spots. The bright spots, and there are some, even though we had a lousy season, you want to look at it that way, it was 2 8-game losing streaks, 1 5-game losing streak. I don't know how many other losing streaks I didn't count, but that's pretty bad. So it doesn't look like there would be bright spots, but there definitely are. Nick Suzuki, definitely a bright spot. Nick Suzuki had his breakout year in his rookie season, which is wonderful because I find, I don't know what the percentage is for something like this, but when a guy comes into the league and has a rookie season like Nick Suzuki does, I don't think it's very often that player turns out to be a bust. So I think that's a real big bright spot. As far as players go, I don't find there were a lot of bright spots other than Nick Suzuki, so I'm not really naming anybody. But what we do have is a top 3, I think it was top 3. If not, it was the second top 2 prospect pool. We have literally one of the best prospect pools in the league, and that's a bright spot because that's going to be where, you know, the young guys come in and funnel through, and it's very important, and we have one of the best. So that's really good. Another aspect I really like is that it's a pretty young team. There's we're on the young side. It's not the youngest team in the league, but it's a young team, and with a young team, there's so much room to grow. So if we've got a team that we like, we can see that they're going to be a lot better next season. They're going to be a lot better next season. But it still has room to grow because these guys, look, Suzuki only going to be in his 2nd season. He's going to get better. So it's a young team, and I like that aspect of it, that there's going to be room for that good growth to become a contender. Another one is Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Yeah, and I wrote, yep, I still think he'll be fine, and I do. He's just a young guy. He's shown us flashes, but the best thing for him would have really been to go to the AHL and not be on the big club for his first season, because it was kind of a desperation move. I don't think he would have made the club if it wasn't for the fact that we desperately needed centers. And yeah, he's good. He was good enough to have a decent rookie season, not especially at his age, definitely. But I think he should have been in the AHL the whole time. So saying that, I don't think he'll be starting the year in Montreal. I really don't, unless he has like an amazing training camp. I think he goes back to the AHL and may even spend the whole season down there. And I think that's a good thing because he already started to look better right away, getting the assists. I don't know if he scored any goals down there, but definitely clicking with Charles Hudon and looking really good. So I hope the spleen injury that apparently is healing up really well, it doesn't cause him any problems. And I think that's another reason why I think we might see him in the AHL next season, is because make sure that he's fully healed from the spleen injury. So yeah, I think it's a good outlook for next season. I'm not going to speculate at whether they're going to go after a guy like Taylor Hall or not. I think they will try to go after somebody, but I don't think they're going to go after that elite player by way of free agency. I really don't. I think it'll be through a trade. That's why I don't really think Taylor Hall, because, like I said, he costs you a lot of money, and you got to sign it to some term. Whereas if you make a trade, you can probably pick up that guy that you need, who still has less term on his contract, and won't be $9 or $10 million like Taylor Hall is going to command. And I don't think we want to have a team like Toronto that has multiple $10 million players. I don't think that's a good idea. And I think Taylor Hall is going to cost you something like that. And any big sniper type elite free agent is going to cost you that. But if you make a trade, you can pick up a guy with like 2, 3 years, 4 years left on a contract. That's, $6, $7 million. Be great, So that's what I think will happen. So I don't think it's such a bad outlook. Yeah, we had a bad season. If you want to go back and look, it's kind of a trend that they seem to have. Last 3 seasons for Montreal: 2016-17, 29, 40, and 13, 71 points. Not a great season. Horrible season. 2017-18, 44, 30, and 8, 96 points. Missed the playoffs by 2 points. Good season. 2018-19, Oh, did I get that wrong? I might have got that wrong, the years. Anyway, the last 3 seasons, because this should be 2019-20. 31, 31, and 9, 71 points. Point being that every odd year, so the odd-numbered years, seems to be the years where they do better. And it's not the only time. I've seen this before. A few years ago, it was the same thing. You do a 3-year or 4-year comparison, and it seems every second year. So 1 year good, 1 year bad, 1 year good, 1 year bad, and that's what they've been trending on. So I'm looking to see that next year's a good season. So I'm predicting a good season for next season. I think their outlook is really good. With the prospect pool, with Nick Suzuki emerging, you've already got Price and Nets, you've got Weber, who's still doing good. He had a good season. If he doesn't fall off next year, and then you've got Petrie to back him up, but you're looking good. Your core is pretty good. I think they've got a good core. I think they've got a good team and a good outlook to move forward, especially with that prospect pool that's going to be coming through in the next 2 to 5 years. This team is going to be radically better, radically different, and I think it's a good outlook. So there you go. That's my outlook for Montreal Canadiens in the offseason. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. While you're on the way down there to do that, hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell. That's going to get you your daily fix of Blue Blanc Rouge right here at Talking Habs. So, also, if you have any comments about my outlook, if you think I'm wacko, what you think the outlook for them is, please leave any comments in the comment section. I read all my comments and usually answer. At the very least, I'll give you a heart to acknowledge that I read it. So there you go. That's the video. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I've got a couple more videos coming out soon about my favorite players that were not Habs and my least favorite players that were never Habs. So look for those, and I'll see you on the flip side, as they say. Anyways, peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching.